Hi all, I have an amazing game to show you today, and this is from the Sinquefield Cup 2017. So this is featuring $300,000 in prize money, and we have 10 of the strongest players in the world: Magnus Carlsen, the world champion, Caruana, Karyakin, Nakamura, Maxim Bachelor-Grov, Vichy Anand, Wesley So, in Nepomniachtchi, Levon Aronian and Peter Zvidla. This is the game Levon Aronian against Nepomniachtchi. This is in round 1. So knight f3, we see knight f6, c4 c5, symmetrical English opening, knight c3. Now black plays the aggressive and active looking d5, c takes, knight takes. Now usually g3, d4, e4, these are the top 3 choices, but Levon chose the 4th choice in chess-based live book, which is e3. Black took now on c3, b takes, and now g6, and now usually d4 or bishop b5 check is played. The 3rd most popular choice is only 19 games in my book, h4, and it looks like a very entertaining move. It's sort of a move I like to play in blitz. So yeah, the h-pawn, with the absence of the knight there, it's kind of more justified than usual. There's nothing to stop h5, and it also might have other perks. Bishop g7, h5 is played, knight c6, and here now bishop a3, hitting the pawn. Black maybe tries to sort of embarrass this bishop with queen a5, expecting maybe some sort of concession here. It's if white plays a normal move here like queen b3, I think black's absolutely fine. And a normal move like queen b3 is fine, but actually we see a more creative looking move in this position. I wonder if you can guess it. If I give you 5 seconds, a creative looking move in response to this queen a5, which took me by surprise actually. So if I give you 5 seconds, what would you play here? Well, which is creative looking. Okay, rook h4 is played. So if queen takes a3, I believe the queen is getting trapped ultimately. Maybe not immediately, but rook a4, queen b2, rook b1, and yeah, black's going to have to give up the queen in some way, either bishop takes or queen takes b1. So yeah, that it's not a good idea to take the bishop, it seems. So we see bishop d7, and now queen b3 here, hitting b7, and it looks as though black might be able to just play that. The sanest move would seem to be just to protect the pawn, which is the technical recommendation, just to protect the pawn. Really, it's nothing spectacular. Why not just protect the pawn? It's one of the stronger moves in the position. Maybe it was black's turn to play creatively, and he just decided to sack the b pawn with castling. I mean, it's an interesting moment. Perhaps let's just for a moment check this. Perhaps he was concerned about rook a4. And here it looks as though maybe white can afford to take that, but it's very tricky actually. Knight a5, this is a tricky line where white is prepared to say sack the exchange. This is, I know this is a crazy line, but it ends up being equal. This position is equal in this crazy line. Okay, so black just let this b7 pawn potentially go, but white took on g6 first, and yes, there's a loose piece on d7 in this position. So white did actually take on b7. He's hitting that bishop. Doesn't matter about this bishop then, because he's hitting that one. And the thing is, by taking the b pawn out, he's weakened a6. Black actually protects the bishop, but now, yeah, there's a good move just exploiting the fact that the a6 square has been won basically by taking that pawn. Queen a6, which protects the bishop. So black now plays a very tactical move though. Bishop takes c3 based on this loose rook here. So if white took, then queen takes, and yeah, this is dropping off. So black's getting his pawn back, but he's losing it again after bishop takes c5. He's back to being a pawn down, and it's more simplified now without the queens on, and also without the queens on. Yeah. The other thing is this bishop over here is away from the squares of the king. We see bishop e6 with pressure on d2. Now bishop b5, and white is clawing his way into the dark squares now. If he can weaken the dark squares a bit, yeah, he's having a nice massive centralized knight on d4 now. We see rook d5 giving up the e7 pawn this time. Yeah, you might think this is a little bit crazy. What is this? Giving up e7. But what does black actually do here? This is the thing. White's bishops look actually quite impressive. How actually do we defend? How does black defend e7? This? It looks better for white. f4. Maybe the check. And take a pair of rooks off. And it's just all better for white, this position. And in fact, this looks wretched to double black's pawns. It looks an absolutely wretched position for black. It's winning for white, basically. So yeah, this is just going downhill, this position for black, it seems. He gives up the e7 pawn, which is taken, and that pawn, like this pawn meant this pawn means this square has been won, basically. And bishop f6 is a major threat with rook h8. So black parries that. f4. Yeah, white is 2 pawns up here. Now, you might also think bishop c6 is tempting. Maybe black's setting a slight trap, but even this slight trap is still better for white, ultimately. If bishop c6, there's a slight concern about taking, and then rook e8, where there might be some sort of discovered check. And here rook takes e5, but even this position is better for white. But white improves on that major upgrade here by playing f5 first, so making this even better because the rook is now protecting the knight. So there's none of this e-file business. We have bishop takes f5, and white is now going to win material after bishop c6. I know it seems strange, but yeah, it seems black's just been losing a lot of material in this game. He's got pieces hanging now. Knight takes f5 check. Yep. If he takes this, of course, there's the choice of the bishop or the knight or the rook here. So wretched double pawns there. Now instead of taking the rook and losing his bishop, white maintains his bishop pair. And in fact, by playing this move, there's no rook d8 anyway, so how is this double attack actually parried? We see king g6, bishop f4. Now everything's hanging, isn't it? Basically, yeah. rook d8, bishop takes d7, so the rook's hanging. Rook c5. Yeah, white's just material up. He has a slight concern maybe about d2, which even this is addressed. It didn't even need to be addressed like before. In fact, white's just so massively up. I mean, bishop a4, just letting this go would be still winning for white, this position. But he plays even better. He plays check and goes into the self pin, which on this occasion is no big deal. Yeah, after bishop c7, just rook c6 here, and he's just maintaining his big material advantage. A bishop up, basically. So black here resigned. Bit of a strange game. Nepomniachtchi is 2742 actually. He's not that far down the rating list from Levon Aronian, who's 2809. It seems in this game it seemed one little disaster after another little disaster. Losing b7, I don't know if that was meant to be dynamic aggressive gambit of some sort, but then losing e7, it's the adjacent squares of the pawns all being weakened as well, leading to further material loss. It was made to look easy, but I'm sure there's, like, behind the scenes, tons of variations were being checked out and stuff by both players. So we can only see this game at one sort of simple perspective. It did seem as though white was in control much of the game. I think that's what we can intuitively gather from this. But there's some really creative ideas, it seems, like rook h4 played. Okay, I hope you enjoyed this one. Comments, questions, likes, shares appreciated. Thanks very much.